Good morning, everyone. And a warm UJ, WiEbe, welcome. It's wonderful to see all of you here. I want to acknowledge Haneli, my predecessor. This is all because of her. That is why we're all here. She's really worked so hard for the past 6 years, and we were able to sit there and smile, and we have no idea the hard work that went behind it. Haneli, thank you very much. Thank you. My job really is just to give you the highlights in terms of what WiEbe has been doing this year particularly. Basically, just to take you back to the primary objectives of WiEbe, just so that we refresh our minds, because I think a lot of the times most of us, we meet once a year, and I think we tend to lose sight of what WiEbe is all about. So today I just want us to just go back a little bit and just reflect on what WiEbe really, the objectives for WiEbe are. It's to attract female students. That is one of the priorities that we're doing as WiEbe, to attract female students, to make sure that we're increasing the number of not only engineers, but women in the built environment professions. And that is talking about quantity surveyors, that is talking about town planners, that is talking about architects, that is talking about land surveyors. That is one of the primary objectives. And the other one is to provide a support network, because that is very important. As women, we do need a support network, and WiEbe is actually doing one. It's doing that to actually ensure that we create a base for women to be able to advance in whatever level in the engineering and built environment where they want to advance. And also to market the faculty, that is very important. So we want to attract people to come to UJ, to make UJ a university of their own choice. Now, the activities for this year. We have our annual competition. We advertised in July, and we closed on the 31st of July. We did have a few nominations that came in, and thank you to those people that were nominated and the nominators. And we had an adjudication process, and the chairperson of the adjudication panel will take you through the whole process in terms of how it happened. It will come later when you do the awards, so I wouldn't like to steal that from him. And one of the things that we did this year, mainly, was to form partnership with the Department of Public Works. Now, the reason why we did that is if you look at bullet point number 2, as WiEbe, our objective is to provide a support network for the women, not only in academia, but also in the industry. And what we did as WiEbe was we went to Public Works and we asked them if we could form a partnership so that we can create that kind of a platform or support network to enable advancement of women in these professions. And when we initiated the partnership, Public Works was actually very happy. They accepted the proposal, and out of that, they actually did the whole process. They initiated let me see where I am. Okay. We initiated an interactive session, and Public Works went all out. They actually created an advertisement. They invited everybody that was supposed to be invited to that interactive session, and this is the result of that interactive session. In the interactive session, we invited a whole lot of women that came. I think about 170 women turned up. And this is part of the people that came to the interactive session. And the whole idea was to talk about forming an organization of women in built environment professions in the industry, because such a structure does not exist. We only have WiEbe, and there is no other women structures except the women in mining. And with Public Works, we got together, and we had this session on the 12th of August, and a few women that turned up, this is part of them, that came to the interactive session, and everybody was really keen on seeing this whole thing move forward. And out of that, we then developed what we called an interim committee that is supposed to work towards the launching of these women in professions, in engineering and built environment professions. Now, this is just part of the activities that went on. You can see our chief director there, and the DDG for projects. He came to the session as well. And we also had the lady up there is the lady that is heading the Women Empowerment Unit of the Department of Public Works, Maina. And the CEO of the CBE came as well in support of what we were doing. She actually said, this organization must be elevated to a VA, a voluntary association. And we want this organization to register with the CBE, and we will take this organization and create programs with the CBE to ensure that advancement of women is happening in the industry. And that's how much support we had from that. And we also had a lady from the Department of Women, Children, and the Disabled, and she also gave her bit of what she thought of the session. Now, out of that, like I said, we had an interim committee. A lot of young people raised their hands. Actually, we have a 26-member interim committee out of that. They were very excited, and these are the ladies that will be heading the launching of the Women in Built Environment and Engineering Professions. Now, from here, we actually had our first meeting, which was on Monday this week, as the interim committee. And the idea was, Public Works is actually hosting this whole thing. They're the ones that are financing it. The whole idea is to plan with Public Works how we are going to launch this Women in Engineering and Built Environment Professions. Another thing that we are aware of is that a lot of professional women don't think they need a support structure. I think as women, when you get into these professions, you think, you know what, I just have to work hard, and my working hard will get me where I want to go. We don't realize that as women, we need support structures. And through WiEbe, we have now gone to Public Works and said, women need a support structure. And Public Works has said, okay, fine, we will host you, we will take you in your diapers, and we will work with you, but you need to get out of your diapers, and you need to tell us when you are going to get out of your diapers. So at the moment, they are hosting us, and in our first meeting, we had actually put up a plan to say, the way that we are going to do this is we are going to go through the provinces, we are going to do roadshows and make other women in other provinces aware of this structure so that by the time the structure is launched, everybody is aware of it. Now, WiEbe is at the forefront of it because somebody needed to go to the Public Works and say, can we partner? And through that, that is what WiEbe is doing. Now, in the process of doing that, what happened was the Minister of Public Works also called a meeting of the women that are participating in the construction industry. And because as women in professions or women in engineering and built environment, we don't have a structure, the gender unit called WiEbe and said, WiEbe, the minister would like to see the women. Can you please come and represent the women? And WiEbe went and represented the women in that meeting with the minister. The outcome of that meeting was a multi-sectoral forum where all the women in property, women in construction, and women in engineering and built environment are coming together to work with Public Works. And out of that came three projects actually. The one project is the Accelerated Women Empowerment Project, and that project is accelerated because we have to do something in the next 10 months as women in engineering and built environment professions. And the other facet of it is Sustainable Women Empowerment Program, which has to be implemented much later. And most importantly is Policy Research and Development Unit, because we cannot go ahead and develop if we don't know what is it that we have to do. And this is where the academic institutions come in, to actually lead the policy and research development unit so that it can inform development. And in that case, then we can make sure that we do have sustainable development. And that is what WiEbe has been busy with this year, apart from the competition. And apart from that, I just want to say that all the other activities of WiEbe, the networking that we normally do, the breakfast that we normally do, the debates that we normally do, when you call upon you ladies to come to those events, this is an appeal. Please do turn up, because now we have much more important things to do. We need to grow as women within the industry. Following what my colleague Isabella has said, it is true that out there is scarcity of women. And what is happening is that a lot of women are able to do certain things, but we don't have a platform to be able to do it. Now, the Women in Engineering and Built Environment organization is going to create that kind of an environment that will enable women or give the women the opportunity to be able to showcase what they can do. Marianne Williamson says, when you let your light shine, you give others permission to shine their own. Now, we women, we're not letting our light shine because we haven't got a platform to actually do that. And one of the things that happens is that when there is information out there, for instance, we have a bill, a gender bill that is sitting with NEDLEC. That bill, women in engineering and built environment professions, they have never seen it. Anyone that has seen it? From the floor? Anyone that knows about it? We don't know about it. And those are the issues that involve us. Why? Because we can't see it because we don't have a platform that we can use. There is no communication link. When that information comes, whoever is busy with that information, they don't know who to send it to because the women in engineering and built environment don't have a platform. But WiEbe is now creating that platform to ensure that there is active participation of women in professions in all facets. And when we were having the interactive session, one of the issues that came out, there's a young lady that actually came up, and she was very upset, and she started crying, because Hanley even spoke to her, and tried to console her. Because she was saying, some of you women, when you climb up the ladder, you become masculine. You are very difficult, we can't reach you, you actually become worse than men. So their gripe was that we are not, the people, women that have already made it, we are not giving them an opportunity. We don't take care of them, all right? There's a problem with training as well. We at the university, we give the industry what they need. We give them graduates. But when our graduates get into the industry, there is a problem with skills development. And because there is a problem with the skills development, we know that women can actually do much more than that. We know that when women get involved, things begin to move. So when we form this organization of women in engineering and built environment professions, what we are saying is that women, you need to start showing what you have. You need to start applying the skills that you have learned. Because when you register, you are already skilled, but you need an opportunity to develop even further. So this organization is going to provide an environment, it's going to provide a basis for communication, so that whatever communication comes out there, the women's voice can be heard. Because the women in built environment professions and engineering are very quiet. Whatever goes on in the industry with regard to the developments, with regard to the policies, with regard to whatever is taking place within our own environment, the women are quiet because there is no platform. So WiEbe has taken the initiative to create that platform so that women can come on board and begin to showcase and even lead. Because we know that when women get actively involved, we know that there is going to be progress and there is going to be development. So through WiEbe, that's the kind of environment that we have created. Where is my last slide? Okay, all right. Now, having said that, I just want to say we wish you a very fabulous day from WiEbe. Enjoy yourselves, and thank you for coming.